Hello, this is Daniel Strickland, and I am the writer and director of the short that you're watching. Now, originally when I came up with this short, I had started shooting it as stock footage for a feature-length film featuring the character of Matthew, and I had always intended on playing, it was me being the writer-director and the actor for the character of Matthew. But needless to say, after I started shooting the stock footage, I sort of thought of it sort of blossomed into the idea of a potential short. And one day when I was returning home from NFCC, I went ahead and I said, you know what, I'll just go ahead and I'll write a poem, because I was always looking at the playground as I was driving home, and one day I just said, I heard rumors about the playground being demolished, and this is probably the only way I'm going to ever be able to keep the memory of it alive. You can see NFCC's gymnasium in the background near in some of the shots, like this one coming up here. Of course, this shirt that you see is mine. I still have this very same tie-dye t-shirt, except that I've worn it quite a lot, 7 years worth of use, and the around the collar, it's seen better days around the collar, but the rest of the shirt is pretty much intact. Now, the difficulty about shooting a short like this was that I was the only person doing it. I didn't have any friends that were into film like I was. And so I was forced to be both the cameraman, the cast, the crew, and I also had to use a tripod majority of the time. So when it came to shooting up, setting up shots for the film, I knew I had to use. I looked at it like a photographer, and also tried to set it up in a way where it looks like where certain angles would look like they could easily be something done by an artist, because Matthew is both a poet and an artist, amongst other things. One person actually asked me why my hand is wrapped up, why my right hand is wrapped up in this shot. Originally, when I devised the original story for the original version of the story, I had it where I had in mind that this event, the entire short takes place on a Saturday, and earlier in the week of Matthew's major story, he has a run-in with these gang members, and one of them is armed with a knife, and he has his hand sliced open while he's in the middle of defending his love interest. Part of the reason why the short took so long was that I had crappy video editing software when I first began shooting it. By the time I got through shooting it, I had this piece of crap video software called Video Wave, and it just sucked. And I had to wait to save up money in order to buy a pretty good editing software. And eventually I did. I got Sonic Foundry's Vegas Video 3.0, and of course after I got that, I had school and work sort of distracted me to the point where I couldn't really get much time to really sit down and do the short. The colors that you saw flash overlaying the image of me hitting the ground came from are supposed to be representing the colors of the schools that were in Madison County. There was blue for primary school, orange and red golden red for Madison Middle School, and silver and maroon for the Madison County High School. I even had to add a little bit of blue overlay for that shot of the sky to really make it pop. Anyways, those schools are the same ones I attended, and of course I pictured in the story universe that Matthew would attend those same ones. I originally had a shot that was going to intercut right here with me standing up in the frame. It would be a medium shot, and you could see the cemetery in the background. But I love this one angle to the point I didn't want to disturb it, so I decided to just go with it. The sunglasses I wear were mine. They were a pair of Panama Jacks. I don't know the model number, but I bought them at a Kmart that was over in Valdosta, and unfortunately they were destroyed because I sort of lost track of them. They fell off my shirt because I had them hung on my shirt when I went to visit my sister. And needless to say, I came back a couple of weeks later and found them sitting on the ground, or what was remains of them. Of course, I repeat the same color scheme of the schools again to sort of represent Matthew's, changing of his point of view about where he is now. Now, Matthew himself originally started, I came up with him back when I was a sophomore in high school. I was into this very awesome film called Vanishing Point, which I'm sure now a lot of people know due to the movie Grindhouse. Oh, wait a minute. I apologize for the extensive use of the end credits right here, the titles describing what happens to the school. It's just that, 5 years. I'm cliff noting 5 years worth of information into this into these titles here. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Matthew, was inspired by the character of Kowalski, who, was this character that was sort of otherworldly. It was almost as if he wasn't of this plane, and like the world was not meant for him. And I wanted to create a character that was, that seemed plausible, but seemed, so out of place in normal society. This shot right here was actually the first shot I ever did for the back when the short was being stock footage. And of course, when it comes to Matthew, he is sort of developed as a character over the years when I've been working on him, because I even feature him as one of the lead characters in a short story I wrote when I was attending for FSU called Bonds. And needless to say, he's a little bit different from what I started off with. And I hope to do the feature length. Nervous Wreck is actually just me playing using the MTV Music Generator to create the score. Originally, I was going to go under Lecter's Lunch, but it just seemed too hokey. And the special thanks are to everybody whom I know from high school up through FSU. That's 5 years worth of people. And also, there's a small goof coming up here where that's an Easter egg. What happened was that I was trying to fall into frame, but I accidentally hit the tripod, and I couldn't help but laugh at myself. And it was the only thing close to a real funny goof that I could use for an Easter egg, so I just threw it in there. Well, I thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this short, and I hope you all have a nice day on the other end of your computer screens. Peace!